Did you know that some of the very snacks you think are healthy might actually be working against you? Especially as we get a little older, we reach for handfuls of nuts, told they're packed with good fats and protein. A perfect little boost. And for many nuts, that's absolutely true. But here's the painful reality that often goes unnoticed. Not all popular nuts are created equal, and some of the ones we grab most often could be quietly causing digestive upset, contributing to inflammation, or even interfering with how your body absorbs vital nutrients. It's a secret many people don't discover until they start experiencing unexplained discomfort or health niggles they can't quite pinpoint, thinking you're doing something good for yourself, only to find out it might be adding to the problem. Can be frustrating. It's like taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back without even knowing why. The good news is, becoming aware of which nuts might be less ideal for the over 60 body is simple, and switching to better alternatives can make a world of difference. In this video, we're going to uncover 3 surprisingly popular nuts that you might want to reconsider snacking on regularly. Delve into exactly why they're not always the best choice as we age. And perhaps most importantly, talk about what you should be reaching for instead. Understanding these distinctions can help you feel better, lighter, and more energetic. It's about making informed choices to truly support your body. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. Let's start by looking at the first nut that's often praised but might not be the best friend for everyone, especially once you've celebrated your 60th birthday and beyond. I'm talking about the peanut. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Peanuts are a classic snack, found everywhere from baseball games to trail mix. They were affordable, they feel substantial, and we're told they're a source of protein. And yes, they do contain protein and some nutrients. However, technically speaking, peanuts aren't actually nuts at all. They're legumes, grown underground. This distinction is important because legumes contain compounds called lectins and phytic acid, which can sometimes be harder for our digestive systems to handle as we get older. Our digestive enzyme production can decrease with age, making the breakdown of complex compounds like lectins a bit more challenging. This can lead to symptoms like bloating, gas, and general digestive discomfort after eating them. Think about times you felt a bit heavy or gassy after a snack. Could peanuts have been involved? It's not uncommon. Beyond the digestive aspect, there's another concern with peanuts, and this one is related to a potential contaminant called aflatoxin. Aflatoxins are a type of mold that can grow on peanuts, especially if they aren't stored properly in warm, humid conditions. While food regulations aim to keep levels low, exposure can be a concern over time for a body that might already be working harder to process and eliminate toxins as part of the natural aging process. Minimizing exposure to things like aflatoxins is just a sensible approach to reducing the overall burden on your system. It's not about causing immediate harm with every handful, but rather thinking about long-term, cumulative exposure and the potential extra work it creates for your liver and immune system. Furthermore, peanuts have a significantly higher ratio of omega-6 fatty acids compared to omega-3s. While we need both types of fatty acids, the balance is crucial. In the typical Western diet, many people already consume far too many omega-6 from processed foods and certain oils, leading to an imbalance that can contribute to inflammation in the body. Chronic low-grade inflammation is something we become more susceptible to as we age, and it's linked to a whole host of age-related health issues, from joint pain to heart concerns. Snacking regularly on a food that further tips this delicate omega-6 to omega-3 scale towards inflammation isn't ideal. While peanuts do contain some beneficial fats, the sheer amount of omega-6 relative to omega-3s means they could be contributing to an inflammatory environment in your body without you even realizing it. It's like adding fuel to a fire you're trying to keep under control. For someone over 60, managing inflammation is key to maintaining mobility, cognitive function, and overall vitality. Another point to consider with peanuts is their potential as a common allergen. While this affects people of all ages, allergic reactions can sometimes be more severe or have a more significant impact on an older body. Even if you've never had a severe allergy, sensitivities can develop or worsen over time. Experiencing any level of allergic response, even mild, puts stress on your immune system. Finally, think about how peanuts are often consumed. Roasted, salted, coated in sugar or other flavorings, or as peanut butter often loaded with added sugars, oils, and salt. These added ingredients negate some of the potential benefits and introduce further, less than ideal components into your diet. The processing itself can also affect the nutrient profile and the quality of the fats. So, while a plain raw peanut might be less problematic in small quantities, the way they are typically presented and consumed makes them even more questionable as a go-to healthy snack, especially for those prioritizing health in their later years. Considering the lectins and phytic acid, the potential for aflatoxin contamination, the inflammatory omega-6 load, and how they're usually processed, peanuts, despite their popularity and perceived health halo, are one nut-like snack you might want to approach with a bit more caution as you navigate your 60s and beyond. Now that we've taken a closer look at peanuts and why they might not be the best daily snack choice for those of us over 60, let's move on to another popular nut that warrants a second thought: the cashew. Cashews are loved for their creamy texture and mild, slightly sweet flavor. They're a staple in many nut mixes, vegetarian dishes, and raw desserts. They contain some vitamins and minerals, like magnesium and zinc, which are beneficial. However, like peanuts, cashews also come with potential drawbacks that become more relevant as we age, particularly when consumed regularly or in large amounts. One significant point about cashews is their high concentration of oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many plant foods, and in most people. They pass through the body without issue. However, in some individuals, especially as kidney function might become slightly less robust with age, or if there's a predisposition, oxalates can bind with minerals like calcium and form crystals. These crystals can accumulate in the kidneys, potentially contributing to kidney stones, or in other tissues, causing pain and inflammation. For people who might have sensitive joints or kidneys, or those prone to kidney stone formation, a high oxalate diet, which could be contributed to by regular cashew consumption, is something to be mindful of. Symptoms of oxalate sensitivity aren't always obvious. They can range from joint discomfort to digestive issues or even fatigue. While cashews aren't the only high oxalate food out there, they are one of the nuts highest in these compounds, making them a potential contributor if you're eating them often as a snack. Another concern with cashews relates to their phytic acid content. Phytic acid, also found in grains and legumes, is often called an anti-nutrient because it can bind to essential minerals like zinc, iron, and calcium in the digestive tract, making them less available for absorption by your body. While proper preparation methods like soaking or sprouting can reduce phytic acid levels, cashews are typically consumed roasted or raw without such preparation. As we age, nutrient absorption can sometimes become less efficient anyway. Regularly eating foods high in phytic acid without preparation might exacerbate this, potentially leading to deficiencies in crucial minerals vital for bone health, immune function, and cognitive health. Minerals like zinc, which is important for immune health and taste perception, or magnesium needed for hundreds of bodily processes. If you're relying on cashews as a significant source of nutrition, the phytic acid could be hindering your ability to absorb other vital nutrients from your diet. Furthermore, think about how most cashews are processed. Raw cashews are not actually raw in the sense that they come straight from the shell ready to eat. The shell of a cashew contains a toxic oil called cardol, which is related to the irritant found in poison ivy. Cashews must be steamed or roasted at high temperatures to remove this oil before they're safe for consumption. While this process makes them edible, it often involves high heat, which can damage the delicate fats in the nut, potentially turning them into less healthy, more inflammatory forms, especially if roasted using unhealthy added oils. When you buy raw cashews, they have still undergone this steaming process, just not the final roasting step that gives them color and crunch. So, they're never truly a raw, unprocessed food item in the same way a raw almond or walnut might be. This processing, combined with the oxalates and phytic acid, adds layers of complexity to why cashews might not be the simple, unreservedly healthy snack they're often portrayed to be, particularly for an older digestive system and metabolism. So, while a small handful of cashews occasionally might not be an issue for everyone, making them a daily staple as your primary nut snack could potentially contribute to issues like oxalate buildup, mineral deficiencies due to phytic acid, and consumption of fats altered by high heat processing. It's about being mindful of these cumulative effects. Next, we'll look at our third nut of caution, which brings its own unique set of considerations for healthy aging. Rounding out our trio of popular nuts that might deserve a cautious approach as you navigate life over 60 is the pecan. Pecans are beloved for their rich, buttery flavor and are a key ingredient in many desserts and baked goods. They are indeed a source of some beneficial nutrients, including certain vitamins and minerals, and contain healthy fats. However, similar to the others we've discussed, there's more to the story when we consider them as a regular, everyday snack option for older adults. One key point with pecans is their susceptibility to mold, particularly aflatoxin, similar to peanuts, because of their high fat content and structure. If they're not stored perfectly dry and cool, they can be prone to developing mold. While regulations exist, and many suppliers are careful, the risk is inherent, especially if you buy in bulk or store them for long periods in less than ideal conditions at home. As we discussed with peanuts, reducing unnecessary exposure to potential toxins like aflatoxin is a prudent step for an aging body that might have a reduced capacity for detoxification compared to when it was younger. This isn't about creating fear, but about being practical about food storage and source, and perhaps not relying solely on a potentially vulnerable food source for daily snacking. Another consideration with pecans is their fatty acid profile. While they contain monounsaturated fats, often considered heart-healthy, they also have a significant amount of omega-6 fatty acids and very little omega-3s. Again, it's the balance that matters, like peanuts. Relying heavily on pecans for your nut intake can contribute to an imbalance in your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, potentially contributing to the kind of systemic inflammation that can worsen age-related conditions like arthritis, cardiovascular issues, and even cognitive decline. Managing inflammation is a cornerstone of healthy aging, and choosing foods that support an anti-inflammatory state is vital. Pecans, while not as high in omega-6 as some seeds or oils, when added to an already omega-6 heavy diet, don't help matters and certainly don't provide the anti-inflammatory benefits offered by nuts higher in omega-3s. Pecans also contain tannins, compounds that can sometimes interfere with nutrient absorption, particularly iron and protein. In sensitive individuals, while moderate amounts are usually fine, if you are already borderline on certain nutrients or have digestive sensitivities, regular consumption of foods high in tannins could potentially be a factor. It's another layer of complexity in how our bodies process foods differently as we age. Furthermore, think about the glycemic impact, especially when pecans are consumed in typical ways. While the nut itself has a relatively low glycemic index, they're most commonly found in sugary pies, sweetened nut mixes, or candied preparations. Eating nuts loaded with added sugar works directly against the goals of healthy aging, contributing to blood sugar spikes and increased inflammation. Even plain roasted pecans, if roasted at high temperatures with less healthy oils or heavily salted, take away from their potential health benefits. The form matters greatly. So, considering the potential for mold contamination, their contribution to the omega-6 omega-3 imbalance that fuels inflammation, the presence of tannins, and the common ways they are prepared and consumed. Pecans join peanuts and cashews as nuts. You might want to enjoy sparingly, rather than making them a cornerstone of your daily healthy snacking routine once you're over 60. It's about making informed choices to support your body's changing needs and sensitivities. Now, you might be wondering, if we're being cautious about peanuts, cashews, and pecans, what nuts should you be eating? This leads us beautifully to the surprise I mentioned earlier. While it's important to be aware of potential pitfalls with some popular options, there are absolute powerhouses in the nut and seed world that are particularly beneficial for those over 60, and they often get less attention than their more common counterparts. The surprise isn't just which nuts to avoid, but how incredibly nourishing and supportive other options can be. Let's talk about walnuts. For example, unlike the nuts we discussed, walnuts are an exceptional source of alpha-linolenic acid ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. Getting enough omega-3s is crucial for fighting inflammation, supporting brain health, and maintaining cardiovascular health, all things that become increasingly important as we age. Swapping out a handful of pecans or cashews for walnuts several times a week can make a significant positive impact on your inflammatory status and cognitive function. Walnuts have been extensively studied for their brain-boosting benefits, which is a major win for anyone prioritizing mental sharpness in their later years. Then, there's the often overlooked Brazil nut. These nuts are incredibly rich in selenium, a trace mineral that acts as a powerful antioxidant and is vital for thyroid function and immune health. Just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day can often provide your daily requirement for selenium. Maintaining healthy thyroid function is important for metabolism and energy levels, and a strong immune system is key as we age. Don't forget about seeds either. Seeds like chia seeds, flax seeds, and hemp seeds are nutritional giants. Chia and flax seeds are another excellent source of ALA omega-3s and also packed with fiber, which is essential for healthy digestion, a common concern for those over 60. Fiber helps keep things moving smoothly, prevents constipation, and supports a healthy gut microbiome, which in turn benefits everything from your immune system to your mood. Hemp seeds offer a great balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fats in a healthier ratio than many nuts. Plus, they're a complete protein source. Sprinkle them on yogurt, add them to smoothies, or toss them into salads. They are incredibly versatile and easy to incorporate. Pumpkin seeds are another fantastic option. They're a great source of zinc, magnesium, and plant compounds called phytosterols, which can help support prostate health in men and bladder health in women, both common considerations as we age. And almonds, while they contain some phytic acid, are a wonderful source of vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that protects your cells from damage, and are relatively lower in oxalates compared to cashews. The key takeaway here is not to fear all nuts, but to be discerning. Prioritize the nuts and seeds that offer the most bang for your buck in terms of anti-inflammatory properties, essential minerals, and fiber content, especially those that are lower in potentially problematic compounds or contaminants. Focus on walnuts, Brazil nuts in moderation for selenium, almonds, and incorporating various seeds like chia, flax, hemp, and pumpkin seeds into your diet regularly. When choosing nuts, look for organic options if possible to minimize pesticide exposure, and store them properly in airtight containers in a cool, dark place, or even the refrigerator or freezer. To prevent rancidity and mold growth, soaking and sprouting nuts, except perhaps Brazil nuts, can also help reduce phytic acid and make them easier to digest, though this takes a little more effort. Remember, making these small adjustments, swapping out less ideal nuts for more beneficial ones, can really add up. It's not about deprivation, it's about smart substitution. Choosing snacks that actively support your digestion, fight inflammation, protect your brain, and provide easily absorbed nutrients is a powerful way to invest in your health and well-being for years to come. Your body deserves the best fuel, and by being mindful of which nuts you choose, you can ensure you're giving it exactly that. Have you noticed feeling better or worse after eating certain nuts? What are your go-to healthy snacks these days? Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you and learn from your journey. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us reach more people who could benefit from these tips. And be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our future videos all about living your best, healthiest life over 60. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, age is just a number, and by making informed choices about what you eat, you can truly thrive. Keep learning, keep exploring, and live your best life at every age.